Between the hills, the stars, the sky, the river so clear, river so clear.
My name is Alan Blaich, and I am a facilitator for this morning's service, along with a number of other members of the community. I say this as we have called this Inspiration Sunday, in which we come together and experience what inspires various attendees and are now sharing those inspirations with each and every one of us. At this time, we join Unitarian Universalists all over the world in lighting our chalice. Don, would you come up to light it, please? Our chalice is a symbol of the spark of life in each of us. If you are on Zoom and have your chalice with you, I invite you to turn on your video to share while we light them. We are in good company. This morning, our chalice lighting comes from Arundel Day, and he says, "The new tomorrow shall come with light and vibrance. Don't forget to illuminate your soul and charge up your spirits. Everything will get better and sun will shine brighter than ever." At this time, let us join in a spirit of meditation, reflection, or prayer as we deepen into our service and share our opening words for this morning. This is called an essay on inspiration. Inspiration is a profound and mysterious force that has captivated the human imagination for centuries. It is the spark that ignites the creative flame, the wind that fills the sails of innovation, and the fire that fuels the passion of progress. But what exactly is inspiration, and how does it interact with the human mind? At its core, inspiration is the ability to tap into the deep wellspring of human creativity, to access the hidden recesses of the mind where ideas and imagination reside. It is the capacity to see beyond the ordinary, to dream the impossible, and to bring forth the new and unprecedented. Inspiration is what drives artists to create, writers to write, and inventors to invent. But what triggers inspiration? Is it the result of careful planning and deliberation, or does it strike like a bolt of lightning, unexpected and unpredictable? Research suggests that inspiration is often the result of a complex interplay between conscious and unconscious processes, between rational thought and intuitive insight. When we are faced with a problem or challenge, our conscious mind works diligently to find solutions, analyzing data, weighing options, and considering outcomes. But sometimes our rational efforts reach an impasse, and it is then that the unconscious mind takes over, processing information beneath the surface of our awareness. It is in these moments of mental quietude, when our minds are relaxed and open, that inspiration often strikes. A memory long forgotten resurfaces, a connection is made between seemingly unrelated ideas, or a novel solution emerges from the shadows of our imagination. Inspiration is also deeply tied to emotion, for it is the passion and excitement of discovery that drives us to pursue our ideas and bring them to life. When we are inspired, we feel energized, motivated, and fully engaged, our minds racing with possibilities and our hearts filled with purpose. Ultimately, inspiration is a mystery that defies complete explanation, a divine spark that ignites the human mind and sets our creativity ablaze. But by embracing its unpredictability, cultivating our imagination, and honoring the intuitive whispers of our unconscious, we can tap into its power and bring forth the innovations, artistic expressions, and groundbreaking achievements that shaped the world. You may have noticed that I didn't acknowledge who the writer of this, but I wrote the writer and I said, thank you. And the writer replied, you're welcome. It was a pleasure to write an essay on inspiration in the human mind. I hope you thought it thought-provoking and enjoyable to read. If you have any more topics or requests, feel free to ask. I'm here to help. Who can guess who the author is? AI. Artificial intelligence is now our muse and our inspiration. So that's why on mornings like this, when we still rely on actual human beings to inspire us, take the time to do it.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom.
So I've been thinking about this a lot because I talked to Elicia about it, and I don't know if any of you know Cheryl Strayed. She wrote Wild, and I think she's a good author, and she has this book called Tiny Beautiful Things that I learned about because there's a Hulu series about it. And she was an advice columnist for a friend who had this alternative newspaper, and her advice columnist name was Dear Sugar. And one of the things I like about this is that when you think about how to advise someone, sometimes you get that really obnoxious, I know better than you advice, but really the way we connect with people is by being vulnerable and telling our own stories. And I think she does this so beautifully. It's a really beautiful book, and they're real letters that people wrote to her. So I'm gonna just give sort of a summary of this one letter and then read through some of her response, because I think this is written during the pandemic, but I think a lot of what she says has much to do with our life now. And there's a pretty scary election coming up, and there's a lot of pain in the world, and I think it addresses that. So the title is Vespers, and the woman writes, Dear Sugar, in the 17 years I've been a nurse, I've had many challenging times on the job, but these last few years have been challenging on a different level. I've never been so stressed out and exhausted, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. Empathy comes naturally to me, but lately I find myself feeling defeated. So she goes on to say it's not only job related and she has a loving family, but she just is really struggling like so many people. So she said, I'm writing to you because I'm seeking some words that will help me on the days when I think, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So how's your pandemic been, Sugar? What do you do when you find yourself spent and weary? In these hard times, how do any of us push through? Signed, Spent. So, dear Spent, Sugar writes, last spring, I noticed I'd suddenly lost about a third of my hair. When I finally got to see the doctor a few weeks ago, she told me I fit the profile of a menopausal woman to a T. I also relate to this, she said that menopausal women with full-time jobs and kids who'd been in online school had been showing up at her clinic in significant numbers with the same complaint for months. She'd never seen so many of it in such a short span of time. We're now a category, middle-aged menopausal moms with their hair falling out. What we have in common is that we are exhausted, we are stressed, we are in utter despair. I'm pretty sure my hair fell out because I've had a terrible year and a half too. So she goes on to talk about her hard year. And she said nothing helped. She had people that she loved in pain, and it was really hard to help them. She found no way. So one day late last year, deep into the horrible time, the subject line of an email in my inbox caught my attention. Weekly Prayer Vespers. The email was from the Unitarian Church, of which I am a member, though it's been years since I've attended a service because I'm too busy and overwhelmed and terrible at getting myself out the door. And I think I read this email simply because I liked the word Vespers. I didn't know what it meant. But I looked up I didn't even look up the definition until now, but I liked it because it meant something like whisper. And I have needed more than anything for the past many months is for someone to whisper to me very gently on a regular basis that as awful as things are now, someday it will be okay. On top of that, I don't believe in God. So praying is complicated for me because when I try to do it, I spend most of the time wondering, what's the difference between praying and me talking to myself in my head? Which is a question so complex and distracting that I inevitably smother my so-called prayer in my own heathen ridiculousness and give up. I read the email from church I seldom attend anyway. It said that every Friday there's a prayer session that members can join on Zoom and that anyone who wants a prayer said for them can request and it will be read out loud. What about this, I thought? I'd tried everything else I could think of to help the hard thing and none of it had worked. Maybe this would. That Friday happened to be during Advent, a few days before the winter solstice. It was literally the darkest week of the year, and there I was searching for light. Help me, I thought, prayed, as I ascended the narrow stairs to my attic office. Help me, I thought, as I logged on while the sun faded from the sky. Help me, I pleaded inside myself as I watched strangers appear in the little boxes on my computer screen, almost all of them women with thinning gray hair who were 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 years older than me. One welcomed us, one sang a song, one lit a candle, and talked about the liturgical theme for the month, which was mystery. I muted myself as instructed and listened, and she said things I already knew but needed to hear again, how in darkness we are waiting, how it is in the times that we must search hardest for the light that we are most profoundly transformed. As I listened to her, I walked slowly on my treadmill and disappearing on the camera, like my own face appearing and disappearing as I turned my camera off and on and off again, depending on how self-conscious I felt. When the woman who spoke about mystery was done, the woman who'd welcomed us began to read the litany of prayer requests out loud. I mentally applied myself to them as if I'd been hired for the gig. Prayers for men starting chemo and drug treatment, prayers for women having babies and knee surgery, for people who'd lost jobs and loved ones. Each request was brief and a direct appeal. I prayed for those strangers in a whisper I didn't speak. After a while, I worked up the nerve to submit my own prayer request, which I told I could put in the chat box that only the woman running the service would see. I slowed my treadmill and typed, "Please pray for X, who is struggling." It was a simple sentence, but so much of my life was inside of it that when the woman said it out loud a few minutes later, I sobbed so hard I had to slow the pace of my treadmill to nearly a stop and grip the edge of my desk so I wouldn't fall down. I went back the next week and the week after that, and every time, "Please pray for X who is struggling," and I cried when the woman said it out loud. Every week I almost fell down. Every week I staggered on and allowed it and held steady by the old women on Zoom who heard my sentence, my prayer, and allowed it into their hearts, who whispered soundlessly to me from their faraway rooms. "I got you," my friend the writer and teacher Jen Pesteloff says so often. She has it tattooed on her arm. That's what this Vespers thing felt like to me. It felt like someone had me, like for the tiniest glimmer of a moment, I was held by a force more powerful than a force I could muster on my own. I don't have a better answer for you for how we push through hard times than to say this feeling of being held in some form is available every day to you and me and each of us who feel we cannot go on. And the way you survive the days you think you cannot survive is to find as much of this feeling as possible in as many places as you can find it. It's what I'm trying to do for you now through my words, through this letter. It is what you sought when you wrote to me. Not seeking advice, but help in the way I have the power to give. I've thought about, many years ago, I was in graduate school. A few poet friends of mine told me about an assignment they had that required them to listen repeatedly to a poem in a language they didn't understand and then translate it into English. Their mission wasn't to know what the words meant, but rather to hear them, to feel them, to imagine them, and then to conjure something from within themselves to translate the impossible mystery of those words into a poem of their own creation in a language they know. I wasn't a student in the class, and I've never tried my hand at this exercise, but it has stuck with me over the years, probably because, as audacious and nonsensical as it first seems, the task is ultimately what poetry and life asks us to do: attempt to make clarity and meaning out of the incomprehensible. I've thought about that long ago workshop assignment a lot lately, and it came to mind again as I read your letter. Perhaps because in some ways what we're all asked to do right now is to create something beautiful from the unknown languages we suddenly found ourselves forced to comprehend. We've had to translate the sentence, "I don't know how I'm going to do this," into the opposite of its meaning, and do and do and do this, as you have, time and time again. My hunch about the meaning of the word vespers was wrong. It doesn't mean whisper, it means evening prayers, though I like its original meaning better, the evening star from the old French vespre. I'm going to whisper to you from my faraway room as you walk toward the hard light of that star, sister. I'm going to stagger beside you on the treadmill going nowhere. I'm going to hold you as we find a way through the dark mystery, the hair falling like rain from our weary heads. I'm going to believe what we already know but need to hear again. When morning comes, we'll be transformed.
A lot of you might know who Kenny Loggins is. And Kenny Loggins sang Footloose, the title track to Footloose. And if you want to catch Angela at the Depot on a Friday night, she'll teach you the Footloose dance. What a lot of people may not realize, but we are in the right setting, in the right age group. Kenny Loggins was actually amongst a lot of the juggernauts of the time that really blended R&B music and pop music, like Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers and Daryl Hall and John Oates of Hall & Oates. Kenny Loggins wrote some amazing music, but it got washed out in a lot of cheesy 80s movies like Caddyshack and Footloose, and but he wrote some beautiful music. And so I figured today, kind of underlying theme is being a custodian of the earth. And he wrote a song that is called Conviction of the Heart. And I don't know if you guys know this song, but it's amongst many beautiful songs that he wrote if you actually sit down and listen to his music. And it reads, "Where are the dreams that we once had? This is the time to bring them back. What were the promises caught on the tips of our tongues? Do we forget or forgive? There's a whole other life waiting to be lived when one day we're brave enough to talk with conviction of the heart. And down your streets, I've walked alone, as if my feet were not my own. Such is the path I chose. Doors I've opened and closed. I'm tired of living this life, fooling myself, believing we're right when I've never given love with any conviction of the heart. We are one with the earth, with the sky. We're one with everything in life. I believe we'll survive if we only try. How long must we all wait to change this world bound in chains that we live in, to know what it is to forgive and be forgiven? Too many years of taking now. Isn't it time to stop somehow? Air that's too angry to breathe. Water our children can't drink. You've heard it hundreds of times. You say you're aware, you believe, and you care. But do you care enough? Where's your conviction of the heart? Because we are one with the earth, with the sky. We're one with everything in life. I believe it will start with conviction of the heart. Only one child, one dream, and only one life. Give her one chance for one life. We will live. I believe it's only going to start when we bring some conviction from our hearts. And that's not Footloose.
And it's being able to follow those whispers within ourselves and follow those whispers that we feel from one another, to follow those, to walk with conviction in our hearts, to feel deeply, to trust ourselves, to get to know ourselves, to be honest with ourselves, with those whispers and those little tiny thoughts and ideas that sprinkle in, whether it's from our own minds, whether it's from one another, whether it's from a sign that we see as we're driving along the streets, that we follow those little things so that we can have the world and the lives that we really desire here.
Inspiration is not finite. It is a flame that feeds upon itself. When one candle ignites another, the darkness retreats. So too does the mind, aflame with ideas, illuminate the world. Let your thoughts be constellations, your actions meteor showers. May your mind be a celestial observatory, catching shooting stars of inspiration.
Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. You want the world to know. You won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide this will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. 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 Oh yeah. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a